when you're teaching hitting, we're really teaching one thing. We're teaching timing. Because that's what hitting is. Hitting is timing. So if we take everything else that we kind of think we know about hitting, the bottom line is, am I helping my hitters to be on time consistently? And everything that we address as a hitting coach, it has to be along those lines. We're focusing on timing. So if we wanted to define hitting and have a clear definition of what hitting really is, we would have to say that hitting is timing. That's what it is. Hitting is timing. Now, I'm starting to find that.
We be everywhere we street famous. So when you see me, I'm just getting alley. Get your game up. Don't be walking around trying to.
As you go around, you're going to find hitters that are good hitters with bad swings. You see a lot of those, right? Good hitters, bad swings. And then you see a lot of hitters that are bad hitters with good swings. Right? Of course. So that has to tell you something, that it's really not the swing that makes somebody a hitter. If it was, then it would be across the board. If I could make my hitters have nice looking swings, then they're going to hit. But that's not the case. So what is the case? What matters? What, when the coach teaches hitting, what really matters? Aside from whatever you believe a perfect swing looks like. We're going to talk about three things today. Visual skills, or recognition skills, which is really seeing the ball. We're going to talk about timing. Timing is all about the front foot and discipline of the front side of the body. And we're going to talk about the third thing is going to be power. Power, how do we generate it at every level? How do we get a 10-year-old to hit the ball out of the infield? How do we get a 16-year-old to hit the ball over the outfielder's heads? How do we get a 17, 18-year-old to hit it over the fence? That's power. Let's start out with recognition. If I took every single number 3 batter in the entire country, at every level, and put them in a room, and then I took every single number 8 batter in the entire country, put them in a room, in a different room, the players who are in the room with the number 3 batters are going to have a whole lot of things in common visually in what they're doing. The players that are in the number 8 batter room are going to also have a whole lot of things in common visually in what they're doing with their eyes, as far as tracking and their ability to recognize the pitch. So we need to be able to identify what those things are that the number 3 batters understand and what the number 8 batters don't understand. So of course you have different levels of talent. You have players that are more gifted athletically, genetically, more experienced. So obviously their timing is going to be a little bit different. And their ability to track the ball and recognize the pitch is going to be a little different. And then the number 8 batters probably don't understand what they need to do to be on time and to be able to get on the front side of that ball. So we got 3 types of hitters. We got hitters that are very good, hitters that are pretty good, and then we have hitters that struggle. And everybody has a combination of those types of hitters on your teams. You have hitters that just always hit the ball hard, always going to have a good at bat, always going to put the bat on the ball and make decent contact. Then you have those hitters that when they're hot, and when they're not, they're really, really not. And then you're going to have those hitters who just continually struggle over and over again. No matter how many lessons they take, no matter how much weights they lift, no matter how expensive that bat is, they're going to struggle. Here's the reason why, when it comes down to vision. The hitters who struggle, this is what's happening. That hitter is seeing some of the ball and some of where the ball is already been. So that hitter is on the back side of this ball, believe it or not, back side of that ball. And they're tracking the ball a little bit late. So they're behind the ball and trying to catch up to where the ball is going to be throughout the entire flight of the pitch. The hitters that are in the middle, hitters that are pretty good, those hitters are seeing the ball. The hitters that are very good are seeing some of the ball and some of where the ball is going to be. So instead of them trying to catch up to the ball, they're actually already ready for it to get to that spot that they have designated in their imagination. So those are your three types of hitters, and those are the three things that they do visually differently. And when you take the time out, and the wonderful thing about vision and tracking is that if you videotape a player, you can't see what they're looking at when you're looking at just their swing. This is something that you have to engage in conversation with the hitter to find out what they're looking at. I think sometimes when we can identify how a hitter is missing, we can help them to solve a lot of their problems. But a lot of it is these eyes, and then the other part of it is definitely front foot, front side of the body. Most hitters, and this is at every level, misinterpret the phrase "step into the ball." Stepping into the ball, for a lot of hitters, can cause a lot of problems with timing, because they're not going to understand when their front foot should get down. And for a lot of hitters, their strides are way too big. I'll give you a mathematical equation. If Bernie Williams, who is 6'3", only had a 2.5-inch stride, why do players that are 5'1" have 6 to 8-inch strides? You see the math, how it doesn't work out? So I always like to say, if I'm going to allow a hitter to stride, and it's different with different hitters. Some hitters shouldn't stride. They just don't, they're not ready to have the challenge of, when does my foot land? When does it get down? You know, how big should the stride be? What should my stride direction be? What should my stride angle be? It's too much for them. So some hitters, I'm like, you know what? For 2 years, starting today, we'll mark this day down. For 2 years, let's hit without a stride. Because my main concern is, I need you to be on time. We don't want the front foot to land at the same time the swing happens, or the same time commitment happens. We want the front foot down early. So we want to get the hitters down, and then hit. So when that pitcher, when she gets into her throw zone, we're going to call this the throw zone. The throw zone for pitchers is going to be, as hitters, we're going to call this from the back foot to the front foot. That's where all the release points are. So we're going to call it the throw zone. When that pitcher gets into her throw zone, your foot's got to be on the ground. It's got to be done. If it's not, that hitter's going to have a hard time. They're going to struggle with timing, and they're also going to struggle with power. They're also going to struggle with power. The name of the game is get that foot on the ground and get that foot anchored into the ground for timing and for power.